And now we are going to talk with another project with a lot of impact. We are very proud of having today María. María is Leap's co-founder and chief strategy officer. And if you don't know Leap, it's an impact-driven edtech startup that focuses on healthcare education for Africa. So she always talks about that she's very passionate about social impact, strategic management and leadership, and she has worked in Africa, Europe, North America, in e-commerce, oil, gas, tourism, education, everything. So today she has a lot of things to talk with us. So welcome, María.
Thank you very much, Bea. Yeah, I think one of you guys is going to share.
Yes, yes.
Y'all are so quick. Okay, great. So hi, everyone. It's very good to see you here. As Alexis was saying, I was also part of actúaupm recently, and it was a great program. So I'm very happy that you guys also have the opportunity to be here. I actually studied in UPM, and UPM has also been the first institution that believed in us in my company. But before that, I will introduce myself. If you guys can go to the next slide. Yes, so my name is María. As Bea said earlier, I'm originally from Spain, but I've been living in Germany for about 8 years now. And as she was saying, I'm very passionate about social impact, strategic management, and leadership. So if you guys at any point have questions or want to talk about any of these topics, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I've worked in many countries because of my experience and trying to get to know about new topics. And eventually I became the co-founder and also chief strategy officer of Leap. And basically what Leap is a healthcare education platform for Africa. So what we do is we partner with international educational institutions so that we can offer a healthcare education at a very affordable price for the African audience. And this way, basically our goal is to tackle the lack of healthcare capacity building across the continent. And I won't talk much more about my company. If you want to learn a bit more about it, you can visit our site, which is right below. But today I came here to share basically 5 tips that I wish someone would have given me when I first got started. Yes, thank you. So the first one would be to get outsmarted. My personal goal as a leader would be that at one point I can walk out of the company for, let's say, 6 months, and that my company basically doesn't go to hell. So this means 2 things, right? This means that I've trained people well, but it also means that I've hired experts. I am a firm believer that you should never be the smartest person in the room. And it sounds very cliche, but it is true. No founder can be an expert at everything. So make sure that you hire people that are experts in other fields and that can do stuff better than you. So that would be tip number 1. Then we can move on to tip number 2, which is track your progress since day 1, basically. You will notice that in your startup journey, you will have plenty of accomplishments and also failures and strategic shifts and changes, etc. And I really cannot stress this enough. Make sure that you track everything. There's several ways of doing this. You can use, for example, project management tools like Jira and Trello and Asana, or there's one called Monday, etc. And once you have those, you can set your goals, your KPIs, OKRs, etc. And then you can analyze the progress there. And this is useful not only to keep track of the things that you've been doing, but it's also very motivating when you've seen that, for example, in Q1, you've accomplished 70% of your goals, right? So that way you can see what you've done, but also learn from your mistakes, for example. And let's move on to the third one. So the third one would be to be resourceful. So let me break it to you guys. As a startup, you receive a lot of rejection. And I don't think that anybody really gets used to rejection, and it sucks. But if you're well prepared, the impact of that rejection won't even be that bad. Make sure that you have a plan B, because that will very often become your plan A. And there's a technique that I personally use a lot, which is thinking of 3 possible solutions to a problem, so that you don't burden your team with the problem only, but you also come to them with possible solutions, and then you can brainstorm together, etc. And another thing that I wanted to mention is that I really believe in being resourceful, because problem-solving skills will, take you a long way. And being resourceful is always more powerful than having resources. And startups often don't have many resources. So keep that in mind. And then the next one would be to have a purpose. You will notice that investors often ask, what is your purpose for building this startup? And what are your personal ties to what you are doing? So make sure that you're doing something meaningful, not only for investors, but because you guys are going to spend a lot of years probably doing this, and you don't want to be spending your time on something that you don't find meaningful or that you don't like doing. And also, startups are sometimes not the fastest way to make money, but if you're passionate about it, eventually you will find a way to monetize it. So that's tip number 4. And then we can move on to the last one, which is, in my opinion, the most important, which is to nurture your team. And there are 2 things that are proven to be the most important drivers of a startup success. The first one is timing. This is a whole different conversation, but I want to focus on the second one, which would be the team. And maybe you guys are familiar with the Y Combinator accelerator. One of the people in their panel, they say that the reason that makes them choose a team is specifically their team. They look at the people specifically over, the idea, the market, etc. And this means that not only do you need to put together the right team, but you also need to take care of them. You need to make sure that you create a safe space for your team where they can brainstorm and share their ideas and also share their feedback. This is super important, that you lead them with emotional intelligence. And if you do that, not only will you have already a great startup, but you will have a great team that will talk about great things about you, about the company, about the leadership team, and that will encourage others to join your team. And it will probably make it more attractive also to investors and to the market in general. So yeah, I hope that those tips were helpful for you guys. The actúaupm team is awesome. They're always there to help you. And I am convinced that you guys are gonna learn a lot. We also didn't win. We were second one actually in our category, but don't worry about that. If you win, great. If not, also great. Just keep going, and hopefully you can apply the tips that I've given you. Good luck, everyone.